Good morning and welcome to the Stahls TV Morning Show. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Karyn.
And today's episode is going to focus a lot more on the blank apparel side of it, thinking about the fit of the garments that you're choosing, thinking about how to choose the best fit to your customers. We're going to feature a look of the week, and we also have our last installment of 8 ways to improve your brand. So we've got a pretty jam-packed episode for you guys today.
Exactly.
We're excited to get started. I wanted to kick off today's episode this morning with a piece of news that hit the apparel industry about 2 weeks ago, but we haven't shared it yet here on the morning show, and so I wanted to make sure we referenced it because I think it's really innovative what we're seeing for our industry as far as the wholesale market goes for printing apparel. And what happened was Bella Canvas actually launched what they call fast fashion. It's a new product line that really speaks to what we see in the retail industry. And so as we know in the retail industry, styles are constantly changing, and there's new runway styles always launched by brands. They're constantly switched out. But in the wholesale market, we don't really see that near as often. We don't see the blank apparel changing. You basically get your start of the year January products, and then in the fall you get another set of products. But there's few new garments introduced from blank apparel suppliers in between that time period. And so if you're trying to keep up with trendy retail-inspired looks and you're trying to compete with these retail markets, then in the past it's been challenging to find garments that do that. And so the idea with this fast fashion line is that Bella Canvas is going to launch each month new styles that are runway inspired, that are trendy, that are unique, so they're loose fit, or they may have some rolled cuffs to them or unique necklines, and they're just really different to what we're seeing in the blank apparel market, and they're fresh. And so it gives us something different to look forward to in our blank apparel.
It's really convenient for apparel decorators because they have so many options now.
Yeah, it completely changes it for sure. And so I think it's a good opportunity to look at. Obviously, you can go to Bella Canvas's website, and right there on the homepage, you'll see their fast fashion line. You'll get to see the debut pieces, and then some new styles should be coming out next month as well. So pretty cool.
It's exciting.
And exciting stuff there for sure. All right, so that covers a little bit of news. We also started a few weeks back sharing a look of the week, just being able to be inspired and inspire you with looks that other apparel decorators are creating. So we want to share that with you now.
Talk about exciting. This is a super exciting shirt created by Kenzie Dickerson of Honey D's Tees in Texas. This is a bright, bold look on a children's t-shirt. She was going for an 80s theme for the 80s Day at School, all neon materials. Really, I think captures the essence of the 80s pretty well.
Yeah, I like the idea of layering multicolors of heat transfer vinyl. She used fashion film for this, so if you haven't experienced fashion film, they have what's called a multi-step application or a fast tack that allows you to just kind of tack those background layers for 2 seconds, which makes a 4-color design like this incredibly fast.
Something you wouldn't usually be able to do.
Yeah, and so I see some opportunities here. Obviously, the neons are very popular. Just the idea of printing children's apparel for unique events or unique occasions. With children's apparel, it's a vastly growing opportunity for decorators. I mean, it's
huge.
Unbelievable the amount of chances you can print personalized shirts or shirts for events or shirts for holidays, birthdays. Actually, this week on Thursday, we're going to have a class that's going to kind of encompass all the guide to printing children's apparel. I'll be the one hosting that class there and showing just some different design ideas, where to source garments, and different opportunities to print. And so if you're interested in that class, you can sign up. It's Thursday this week at 2 p.m., so you can go to stahlstv.com. Just click on the Live Events tab, and you'll see that there to be able to register and sign up for the class.
Can't wait.
Yeah, so some great chances there. And then if you have some looks that you want to share to us for Look of the Week, because we love to see them, you can share them a few different ways. The first week is going to be on Facebook. So that look was actually from the Facebook show and tell we run on Saturdays. You can share your garments there. It's just Stahls, all things heat printing. The next way is to email us at tv@stahls.com. And then lastly, you can always tag us on our Instagram page at Stahls TV, which today is going to be announcing the winners to our Project Press It Instagram contest. So
a giveaway.
Lots of stuff going on, different ways for you guys to share your looks. I know I love seeing them, and we gain a lot of inspiration here as well with those.
It's really cool to see everything that you guys send in to us. We really get a kick out of it, so be sure to post your looks.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, we're sad to bring you the last installment of our 8 ways to improve your brand. This one is going to kind of encompass everything that we see. I like this topic. It focuses a lot on photography, which I think makes a big difference in how people perceive your brand. And so we're going to share those tips with you now from Courtney S.
Welcome to the 8th and final installment of 8 Ways to Improve Your Brand on the Morning Show. We've been excited to bring you this series, building brand consistency across the board. From saying thank you to packaging your brand, today's topic will wrap it all together. But before I talk about today's topic, which is photography, I want to talk a little bit about the logistics. By nature, people are visual and attracted to images. If you think about social media platforms such as Pinterest and Instagram, they're completely revolved around sharing and posting images. It's shown that there's an increase of views by 94% when there's content including compelling images, which is something I think you should take into consideration when building your website. Adding photos to your website can also increase SEO and reach in the interactive experience. For example, there's an increase of 37% in engagement for Facebook posts that include photographs. Since visual content showcases your products and pictures are worth 1,000 words, it's important to create compelling images that brings your customers in. Especially for online retailers where they can't touch or feel your product, having images that showcase the front, backs, and sides can be really important for the user experience. So let's talk about the way you choose your photos. The first type of apparel photos are flat shots, which are created using a neutral background and white light reflected onto the garment. And the garment's either laid out completely flat or wrinkled a little bit for personality. Many apparel decorators on Pinterest and Etsy also decide to photograph their garments on distressed wooden backgrounds or white boards for a vintage feel. Another variation includes mannequin shots. Customers love the idea of seeing the fit and form of a garment prior to purchasing. Online customers especially love to be able to visualize themselves in the garment, so it's said to be wary of using armless mannequins unless shooting strapless apparel. Lastly, the very best way to display your garments is by doing model shots. These can be harder to line up, but are worth the work. Keeping the same models for brand consistency is a must. A good example of that is Bella Canvas, shown through these images. Posing them in a lookbook fashion, where the front, back, and sides of the garment are displayed, can help build your brand's image and give customers a good idea of your garment. Finally, be sure to keep your look consistent with how you want customers to view you and your brand, and make sure you edit your colors accurately. Using free programs such as PicMonkey is good when on a budget. Otherwise, many people use Lightroom or Photoshop for a more professional finish. This has been 8 Ways to Improve Your Brand. I'm Courtney Singer, and thanks for watching.
Thanks to Courtney for sharing some tips on photography with us. Courtney does a lot of the photos that you see on StahlsTV.com as well as the blog, so she has some interesting tips to share there. And just when you're thinking about photography for an apparel brand, there is a lot of opportunity there to kind of show your quality and the premium products that you present, because if you're taking photos and maybe just laying the garment in a low lit condition and you're not getting a premium look to the image and the quality of it, then if you're selling online somewhere like Etsy, maybe a third-party site like that, or even just on your own website, people are going to perceive the quality of the products to be less professional in that aspect. And so if you're doing a lot of online selling, even just through social media and showing your products that way, it's definitely key to take photos in a high quality or a high photo resolution type way.
So important now.
Yeah, so photos definitely speak, like Courtney said, 1,000 words, and they're used in all the social media and stuff. So those are some great tips. If you've missed any of the segments we've done on the 8 Ways to Improve Your Brand, they are available on StahlsTV.com as well as past morning shows if you missed those episodes. So gives you a chance to see some of the other tips that we shared to improve your brand image and for the next fiscal or the next year, which is coming up pretty soon, or sooner than I think we are all hoping with the holidays. And so that's one option as well. Now I want to dive a little bit more into the specific episode that we have planned for today and talk a little bit about our main topic. And that's going to be talking a lot about the blank apparel that you would choose for your brand. Now when you choose blank apparel for your apparel brand, you usually look at two different things. One's going to be fit, the other one's going to be feel. And that's really what your customers are figuring out as well. You may have the absolute best designs, and certainly by no means, I will definitely say artwork sells t-shirts, but even a great piece of artwork on a garment that's not real comfortable or doesn't fit real well is not going to get worn.
No.
And so it's kind of a double-edged sword. You have to have a great design and a great fitting garment for your customer.
You want that softness.
Yes, exactly. And so that way they kind of blend well together. And so today we're going to focus a lot on things to consider when you're evaluating the fit of the garment for your customer, and even just the fit of the garment for your customer base when you're sourcing garments and considering that as well. And so we have a good graph that was brought out by Bella Canvas that we wanted to share for you guys today as well.
So if we just go through these different styles of garments from left to right, The first one that you'll look at is the slim fit garment, and that's kind of the traditional first shirt that was created specifically for women. It's very form-fitting, curve-hugging. It's your staple shirt basically for women. That's the first thing that you would think of. But now we're coming into all these different styles for women's clothing, especially if you move over one, we have the flowy fit, which is still a very slim fitting shirt, but it has a nice looseness, a nice softness. It kind of hangs and gives you that effortless look. The next one, we have the slouchy fit. It's kind of baggy, usually a little off the shoulder, give you that, again, effortless look like you didn't try, but again, it's so fashionable. It looks like you're so well put together. Right next to that, the relaxed fit, getting a little bit more with the looseness, bagginess, kind of that boyfriend look that a lot of people are looking for now. Match that with loose jeans. That's kind of the look that you'd be going for. And then finally is the unisex fit, which is good for either males or females, so not really form-fitting at all, just kind of that square shape, but you know, the mainstay, the staple, that's what a lot of people will go for.
Yeah, and we'll elaborate a little bit more on these styles throughout the episode, but one thing I noticed for sure about this is just how much styles have changed. Just in the types of apparel that are available. Traditionally, when it started, it was a lot of unisex garments, and then a lot of women's apparel was introduced, and then women's apparel offers a lot of variations that we saw there as well, and the way that the garments are chosen, and so we'll talk more about that. But one thing that I wanted to talk about first is just choosing a style that fits your brand and your customer. And so when I think about choosing products, I looked a lot at those garments you mentioned, the slouchy tee, the flowy tee, some of those more relaxed fit. If I'm selling to more of a trendy youth or juniors market, then I may be choosing garments like that that are going to be more close to what we're seeing in the retail, more close to what's trending and as far as fit for apparel goes. And then if I'm selling to maybe groups, or I'm really trying to hone in on one style for a unisex market, maybe it's a group, maybe it's just a school or a different market like that, then I'm probably going to go towards that men's or that unisex tee because that fits the demographic or the customer that I'm looking for.
Looks good on everybody, pretty much.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that
And
look.
that's kind of why we see the men's or the unisex t-shirts. Obviously, I'm not going to use that slim fit ladies t-shirt for my all-encompassing apparel if I'm selling to men in apparel and I just want to source one blank because, of course, the men
it's not going to work.
aren't going to fit into that very well. And so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to actually use the men's version, which can be pared down well for a lady's garment, and just source it that way. And so that's why we see so many people still using the unisex blank. While I specifically, if you're selling to a female market and you're trying to go trendy, then I try to guard against choosing that unisex blank. But if you're doing fundraising or groups, events, then I think it totally makes sense to source those and choose them in a certain way. And men's t-shirts or unisex t-shirts in general are actually manufactured in the fit in two different ways. And so we see one style here, which is actually a garment from Sanmar and one of their Port and Company kind of value t-shirts, which is more of a tubular style. And so with a tubular style, when I look at the side of it, I'm noticing that there's no side seams. These garments tend to be less expensive because they don't have the additional sew time or the additional application there that's needed to create the garment. And that's a little bit different versus this style here where we're looking at a garment that has side seams. And so this garment's going to be a little bit more costly because it's got side seams that were now sewn down into the blank garment. But these side seams are going to change the fit of the style, and so it's going to make a garment that's a lot more fitted and a lot more comfortable for the wearer and just kind of fits them in more of a form-fitting way than that boxier t-shirt that doesn't have those seams that are tailored.
And this style is definitely what's trending for young males into young adult males. Just that demographic definitely wants that slimmer fit.
Yeah, absolutely. So this fits a lot better for the more trendier custom t-shirts that I'm selling towards the juniors market or more of a youth market there as well. Of course, that boxy style t-shirt that we were looking at here without the side seams, that to me still makes a perfect garment for if I'm selling to municipalities or I'm selling just for events or groups and I just want a standard, less expensive option that fits everybody. I'm not worried about it being too tailored because there's so many different sizes and styles for that customer base. So that talks a little bit about men's t-shirts, but I also want to cover a little bit more about women's t-shirts because we saw on that graph that we showed how many different styles of women's garments there are available today.
Yeah, it seems like things have kind of turned around a little bit where it used to only be that unisex men's look, but now the garments are changing more for women. The guys obviously have their choice between the tubular or the side seam tee, but if you look at the women's garments, they have 5 different styles just on this one page, and you know there's many, many more, but it's definitely leaning more towards the women's market in terms of shape and style and fit and size for shirts. And speaking of sizes, the different styles all come with different size ranges as well. So you see that the slim fit t-shirt has a much smaller size range than the relaxed fit t-shirt.
Yeah, I used to tell you guys, I'm a little bit older than some of you here at the studio, so I always crack a joke that whenever I first, when I was growing up in the 90s, slim fit garments were the most popular, which today it's moved more towards that comfortable, boxy, flowy style. But one thing I think is interesting is when you're choosing the garment for your customer, that varies. And so if I'm selling to an older market where I may be selling to more moms, then they may want things that are a little bit more of the slim fit or the relaxed fit, depending on what they're used to and what garment style they kind of grew up with and they like. Children's apparel, likewise, we're seeing a lot of those slim fit garments and throughout children's apparel. Now when I look at the youth market and the juniors type style, then I'm considering garments that are going to be the slouchy fit or the flowy fit, and they're more relaxed in the way that they're worn because that's just kind of this trend and the style for that age range. It's kind of like if you were shopping in retail stores and you were shopping for stores that sell to those different markets. The blanks or the garments that you're seeing decorated there are going to be in the exact same styles of what we're seeing now in the wholesale market.
And that's immediately what I think of when I see these garments. They're softer, they're trendy, they're flowy. I think of what I would see on a retail shelf. So, you know, you can easily mimic now what people would be buying in, you know, any department store in your own custom apparel shop now.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you mentioned a little bit about sizing. And so once you understand the fit that works best for your customer, the hardest thing really, I think, for a lot of decorators is choosing a size or helping your customers choose the right size for the garment that they're ordering.
I completely agree.
Because as you showed, that slim fit shirt small is much different than a relaxed fit small. And so if you're going towards and you're selling, and of course your local reps for your blank apparel suppliers should be able to help you looking at the product specs on the website for the garment as far as the construction of the seams will help you to choose the style as well. But just keep in mind, if it's a slim fit garment, you may want to caution your customers to maybe size up a little bit. I know a lot of decorators that use the slim fit garment from Bella Canvas and will tell me, I always recommend my customers go a size up because the small is very small fitted. Now on a complete flip side, if I'm selling a relaxed or a flowy shirt, they tend to fit a little bit larger. They're the way they're kind of tailored is a little bit bigger. So they're going to want to probably size down a little bit if they're going to that route as well. So that'll help you to pick some guidelines for when you're choosing blank apparel. One thing that I did want to mention is that you'll find if you're not sure, you want to maybe offer some of these new styles, the flowy styles, the slouchy styles, or you want to have a couple sets to have in your shop so your customers can choose the right size, then a lot of these suppliers will offer sample programs where you can maybe get 50% off or a discount on so many garments throughout the year that you could order to stock and then have them for customers to try on. So I know Bella Canvas does that, Sanmar does that as well. So those are some good tips to keep in mind.
That's really great for your customers.
To source the garments. And there's no harm in stocking some different styles and letting people try them on and having them to reference as well. Joe, we had some questions to come in, I think, through the GoToWebinar.
Yeah, just pertaining to what you're discussing now, they'd like to know how many styles would you suggest you should have in your shop to show a customer?
Style-wise, I think it depends on your actual customer base. If I'm selling to a ladies market, then I probably would choose maybe 2 different styles or 3 different styles to show them as an option for t-shirts. So if I'm going with slouchy fit, a slim fit, and then maybe a relaxed fit, that kind of allows me to hit 3 market points. So I would have one for juniors, one for maybe the older market, and then one also for, you know, a relaxed fit for people that don't want things that are fitted, but they want things to look not so slouchy, because I know a lot of people will say maybe that's a sloppy style where that's kind of the trend right now for juniors or teens. Okay, great. So I think we've shared a lot of tips on fit, but what we want to talk about to finish the episode is printing these styles of garments, because being able to print them successfully based on the fit of the garment and also based on where the placement of the design is on different cuts of garments can vary. And so we're going to head over to the heat press just to kind of show that and demonstrate it a little bit more closely. And so when we look at the way we load garments onto a platen, here's the standard 16 by 20 platen. So if I'm taking a shirt like this slouchy t-shirt here, and this is just a slouchy t-shirt from Bella Canvas, you're noticing here the fit of this garment, how much wider it's going to be than the exact same size shirt in a slim fit garment. So this is a medium ladies garment. Now when I go to thread this on the platen, I can use my standard 16 by 20 to print this, because you're seeing I'm not having any issues with side seams from the side of my shirt up on the platen, or any of the arm sleeves that could cause inaccurate pressure or scorching on a synthetic tri-blend style garment. So this gives me a nice flat print surface. Now when I take that same shirt in a slim cut style, and I'm looking at the medium here, now you can notice how much more slender this exact same size is. So those are some great things to consider when you're choosing blank styles for your customers. But when I go to load this on the platen, I'm no longer able to actually thread it and get that flat print surface without stretching the shirt, which can distort the image. If I lay it flat on top of my platen here, then I've got to worry about some of these seams from my side shoulders getting into the way, either causing inaccurate pressure if the transfer is close to that, or just simply causing some scorch marks that can happen on synthetic slim shirts like this that may be a tri-blend and a little bit more heat sensitive. So for this, I would consider probably switching out a bottom platen. That way I can load the shirt a little bit more accurately. So we're going to swap that out. Perfect. And then drop in an 11 by 15. That's going to allow me to then get that item flat. And so it's good to have these kind of accessories if you're printing a lot of these slim styles at your shop. So I can load that in, thread this on, and now this slim cut shirt looks exactly the same way that it looked on that 16 by 20 when I dropped that down in there. Now placing transfers on a standard crew neck shirt like this, I'm going to be going about 3 inches down on the shirt. So I don't have too much error when I'm printing on something like this. But when I start to print styles of garments that have maybe a V-neck to them, or different cuts like the slouchy shirts that have a very wide neckline, I have to consider where I'm placing the garment. So 3 inches down on a V-neck shirt like this is going to bring me somewhere around the belly button. And so I want to be careful to make sure I'm only going about 1.5 inches down from that V-neck. That way I'm getting the proper placement that I need to line up my transfer. Likewise with slouchy t-shirts, I don't want to go too far down. So if the crew neck of the slouchy shirt is a wide neck and it's already going kind of low, you don't want to go 3 inches below, because again, we're going to end up with a print that's more like a belly button. So always good to consider that as well. We have any additional questions that have come in about some of the placements, tips, and sizing?
Yeah, the question is, so if you only have the one large platen, how do you handle that?
If you only have one large platen, what I would recommend is trying to use either a heat printing pillow to get the accurate pressure. So that way you would use heat printing pillows, which are technically a Teflon covered foam piece of board. You can load those into the garments, and they come in a variety of sizes and work the same way that you would work with a platen, still getting you a flat surface and making sure those seams don't get into the way.
So if you had to select the different size platens to have in a shop, what would be the most common that you would suggest they should have?
Outside of the 16 by 20, the most common is going to be your 11 by 15 platen. That's going to allow you to do most of the ladies' garments. If you tend to trend towards more children's apparel, then I would recommend also considering an 8 by 10 or a 6 by 10 for onesies. Those are going to be most commonly used for those styles.
And then the final question that has come in, just to switch it a little bit, they do a lot of tri-blend apparel. What heat transfer do you suggest for the tri-blends?
When printing tri-blends, they tend to be a little bit more heat sensitive since they have a high rayon and polyester content mixed in with the cotton. So I'd recommend something that's lower temperature. If you can go below 300 degrees, that's going to be ideal. So for screen printed transfers, I would recommend the Elasti prints from Transfer Express. I would recommend Premium Plus from Stahls if you own a vinyl cutter, or any of the CAD prints transfers that are going to be more low temperature. So looking for something that cures below 300 degrees will help with that as well. And one thing I did want to share about placement before we go is Stahls actually just came out with a placement guide. So if you have trouble with placement on graphics as far as V-necks or left chest logos or back prints, they have a comprehensive guide. You can get that at stahls.com. You'll be able to download that there. And kind of it's a cool little book, a cool little guide to keep next to your heat press and keep in mind when you're laying out all of your transfers and designs there. So next week we have a cool episode for you guys. It'll be on elections. We're not going to touch on who you're going to vote for. We're definitely going to share ways that you can each year take advantage of these types of elections and different things in your local area to make some money. So that'll be the main topic for next week. Also, before we head out today, there will be a survey, so make sure you fill that out. We are looking to promote a couple more series throughout the rest of the year, kind of like we did the 8 ways to improve your brand. So we want to know what you want to see, whether it's business tips, heat printing tips, or general tips to help improve your business and your brand. So make sure you select there so we can help launch a new series in November of this year. So we'll see you guys next week.